The Idaho student murder. Imagine you are living in a small, quiet college town. Nothing bad ever happened here. The last murder was 7 years ago. It's a Saturday night. Four of your friends go out, have fun, come home. They go to sleep. Normal night. They have never wake up. No forced entry, no weapon found, no witness. Two other roommates in the same house survived, and they had no idea what had happened until morning. 4 weeks, the entire United States was asking one question: who did this? The answer, when it finally came, was one of the most shocking twists in true crime history. Meet the four victims. Before we get into the crime, I want you to know who these four people were. Because this story is not just about a killer, it is about four lives that were taken way too soon. First, Kylie Gonzalez, 20-year-old, outgoing adventurer. She had big plans. She was preparing to move to Austin, Texas after graduation. Her family described her as someone who lit up every room she walked into. Second, Madison Morgan, also 21, Kelly best friend since childhood. They had grown on together, gone to college together, and were even planning to move to Texas together. Inseparable. Axana Cornell, 20-year-old, she lived in the house of King Road with Kelly and Madison. By all accounts, she was warm, funny, and deeply loved by everyone around her. And finally, Ethan Chaffin, 20-year-old ex-son boyfriend. He was not even supposed to be there that night. He was just staying over, wrong place, wrong time. For young people, four futures that were erased in a single night. The night of November 12th. Let's go back to the night of Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Kelly and Madison had been out together in the town of Moscow, Idaho, a small university town of about 26,000 people. They had a fun night. Around 1:56 a.m., they got dropped off at their house, 1122 King Road, just off campus. Axana and Ethan had also been out. They did attend a fraternity formula, then spent time at the Sigma Chi house. They came home around the same time, 1:40 a.m. At roughly 4 a.m., Sana even ordered DoorDash food delivery. That's how normal the night felt. And then sometime between 3:30 and 4 a.m., someone entered that house. The attack happened fast. The victims were in the room, most likely asleep. There were no sign of a struggle in the common area. Whoever did this was methodical, quite deliberate. Two others roommates living on the lower floor heard a strange sound. One of them even opened her bedroom door and came face to face with the intruder. He looked at her and then he left. She was so shocked, so confused. She did not fully understand what had happened. She went back to her room and locked the room door. She did not call 911 until hours later. The investigation begins and stalls. When police arrived at 1122 King Road on the morning of November 13, they found a skin that would haunt them for months. Four people were dead, stabbed. The murder weapon, believed to be a large fixed blade knife, was now here to be found. There was no sign of forced entry, no clear motive, no obvious suspect. Police announced these were targeting killing but could not say who the target was or why. That sent the whole country into a spiral. Social media exploded. Amateur detectives pored over every detail online. Theories spread faster than fact. The family of the victim was speaking out. The university was in shock. Students were leaving campus terrified. For weeks, nothing. No arrest, no named suspect. The FBI received thousands of tapes. Investigators worked around the clock, but every lead seemed to be cold. The one clue knife seat. Here the story turned at the crime scene. Investigator found something the killer had left behind. A small leather knife sheath. The kind that hold a fixed blade knife. and one that seeth a microscope piece of biological material DNA. Now DNA alone does not catch a killer. You need a match, so investigator ran the DNA through national database. Nothing came back immediately. But then they got creative. They used a technique called investigative genetic genealogy. Basically, they compared the DNA to public genealogy database, the kind of people used to find long lost cousin, and they found a partial family match. That match pointed them toward a family, and within that family, one person stood out. Brian Christopher Neuberger, 20-year-old, a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, located just 8 miles from the crime scene in Moscow, Idaho. A man who literally spent his academic career studying why people commit crimes. Let that sink in for a second. The arrest. Once investigators had Koberger in their sight, they started building the case. Cell phone data placed him near the King Road house multiple times in the months before the murders, appearing to drive past it almost like he was watching it. Surveillance cameras captured his white Hyundai Elantra near the area on the night of the crime. DNA from trace at his family home in Pennsylvania matched the DNA from the knife sheath. The connection was overwhelming. On December 30th, 2022, 6 weeks after the murders, Koberger was arrested at the parent home in Pennsylvania where he was spending the holiday break. When investigators sat down to interview him, he was cooperative at first. He talked about Washington State University, he talked about the area, he seemed relaxed. Then they said, "We are here because of the case in Moscow." He went completely silent and asked for a liar. The twist, a last minute guilty plea. For nearly 3 years, Koberger maintained his innocence. His lawyer claimed he had an alibi that he was out driving alone that night to look at the moon and the stars. Yes, that was the alibi. A trial was scheduled for August 2025. The whole country was ready for it. Victim family had prepared a sit through weeks of testimony. And then just before trial, Brian Koberger did something nobody expected. He pledged guilty. All 4 counts of first degree murder guilty. As part of deal with prosecutors, he avoided the death penalty. The sentence for consecutive life term in prison. He will never leave. In July 2025, he was sentenced. The family of the victim finally had their day in court, a chance to speak directly to the man who destroyed their life. The question that still has no answer. And here we are, Brian Koberger is behind bars. For the rest of his life, justice in a legal sense has been served. But here what haunt me about this case, and I think it will haunt you too. We still don't know why he did it. No motive has ever been officially confirmed. Koberger never explained himself. The murder weapon believed to be a ka-bar knife has never been recovered. Why did a criminology student, someone who studied the physiology of killers, become one? Did he know the victim? Was it random? Was he watching them for weeks? Some of those answers may never come, and for the family of Kelly, Madison, Asana, and Ethan, that silence is its own kind of cruelty. If you made it this far, thank you for watching and for caring about these 4 people. I want to hear for you in the comments. Do you think we will ever find out Koberger motive? Or do you think he will take that secret to this grab? And if this video gave you chill, hit subscribe. I cover real case like the every week. And if you want another story just as twist as this one, I will got one ready for you right there. Stay safe and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.